There are some lies in our science books. Taught it for 15 years. Even though I'm not teaching it anymore, I still like to study. It's so many neat things to learn. We're going to cover some of that tonight.
Perception is being managed. We are being steered and guided by a hidden hand.
The whole world has been duped by the media that is not real.
Smart thinking, possible time traveler, smart thinking.
That night, boom, contact memory.
And then Alex, if you don't agree, you'll be sent to a re-education camp.
Just because I'm old doesn't mean I've lost my touch with the ladies.
A lot of people here tonight felt like they lost. You know why?
Now, experts are suggesting that we're in a golden age of shape-shifting reptilian sightings. Now, why is that?
I was, and still am, the huge conspiracy guy. I literally ran out of new tin hat topics to research.
It was most definitely not capable of melting steel.
Then I would be a crackpot if I thought...
Welcome to the Hypothetical Institute, a podcast about conspiracies.
My name is Luke.
I'm Salty.
I'm Cam. Welcome to 2020, boys.
Yeah, what's 2020? The year of not getting cancelled, you said before we started.
Yeah, well, no, that's true. We won't get cancelled in 2020.
2020, the year of not cancelling your mates.
Yeah, good one.
Hindsight?
Hindsight?
Yeah.
Oh, 2020 hindsight.
Yeah.
Cool. Good original 2020 gear there, Cam.
Yeah.
What do we...
welcome.
New year.
New us.
New us. Same old us, really. Are we going to do a new theme song? No, probably not.
Yeah, we should.
Why?
All right, maybe when we actually hit 3 years, you can put together a new theme song.
Okay.
If you're not too busy.
Yeah, I'm a busy boy. What are we talking about? How are we going to kick off this new year?
We're going to talk about some psychic predictions for 2020.
Yeah, and we're also going to talk about the bushfires.
Yeah, the bushfires.
We should probably give a warning. I guess we are talking about the extremes of the bushfire conspiracy theory world, but if it is a sensitive topic for yourself, skip this one and listen to an older one.
Yeah, also if you find people being cars in a former life a sensitive topic, this is one to skip.
Way to make light of people's potential triggering.
Yeah, all right. You don't know.
Okay, no, fair enough. Fair play. All right, Cam. I haven't actually looked at the predictions.
So I was looking at a bunch of psychic predictions. It's sort of weird. There's a lot of people on YouTube who do like tarot readings. They do spirit communication.
Wasn't there one in the Herald Sun?
I mean, yeah, there's psychics in all of the newspapers. There's horoscopes and things.
Yeah. But no, there was like a predictions for 2020 heraldsun.com.
Oh, yeah. No, there's I found like a bunch of those as well. But the ones that interested me were on YouTube, where it's like these people doing, I guess up to a few years ago, they probably would have just been doing straight horoscope sort of gear. And it's sort of similar to the normal horoscope business model, which is you give out the free ones on your YouTube channel or in the newspaper or whatever, and then if someone wants to get a personal horoscope, if by some chance the movements of the planets and stars in general is not enough for them and how it affects their life, they want a specific one to them with their birthday and everything, they can get in touch and pay for that. But so what I found though is there's a bunch of these psychic channels on YouTube that have gone like full QAnon and JFK Jr. and all of that gear mixed in with like normal, you're going to meet a tall dark stranger gear. So I looked at 3 different psychic mediums.
Okay.
Louise Jones, psychic. She had a video up a couple of days ago. These are emergency predictions.
Emergency predictions?
Lottery numbers, predictions, cancelled.
Okay.
For these emergencies.
So hang on.
Jackpot next week.
She's keeping the lottery numbers to herself then, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
She knows the world's going to hell in a handbasket.
I'll take these numbers.
Yeah, these are mine. Free hit for Louise.
So for these emergency predictions, she did charge her crystal ball all day in the garden.
How do you do that, in sunlight?
I guess so.
Yeah.
And just for this, if you can imagine a woman just holding up a small sphere and looking into it while she says all of this stuff.
I can imagine that.
So her first thing, And I guess it's hard to call these predictions. These are just things she's seeing in the crystal ball. She got a vision of Donald Trump. She was also seeing Kim Jong-un, also seeing the Chinese president and Putin. So we could, in 2020, be seeing a bit of Trump.
Yep.
We might be seeing something happening with Kim Jong-un.
Mm-hmm.
We might be seeing the Chinese president involved in some sort of thing, and maybe even Putin.
This is big news.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
she also saw.
I'll be keeping a close eye on that quadrangle.
You know who she also saw? Oh, not necessarily involved with anything together, by the way. She just saw them all.
Okay.
Also saw George Soros.
Okay.
To which she said, watch this space.
All right.
So some solid predictions. Then she said, I'm seeing televisions. Wait. Digital televisions.
Whoa.
Encoded messages. Digital network. Hidden frequencies targeting what we watch through our televisions. So you need to watch for that.
I'm watching for hidden frequencies targeting what we watch in our televisions.
Yep, keep an eye out.
I don't even know what that means.
Then she said, I'm seeing the time changing on a clock. And she started thinking about what that might mean. And to my mind, she was just watching a montage of time passing, like in a movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She might have been watching a movie montage through the crystal ball.
Yeah.
It may have actually also just been watching a clock moving at the normal passage of time.
It's kind of like a cliche of when people fall into like a Twilight Zone kind of pit and things fly past.
Yeah.
TV showing world leaders, clocks.
Yeah.
The only thing
grandfather clock.
She didn't see a calendar with the pages ripping away. And then finally, so the clock, she thought, something to do with world banks and times. It's as if they can slow them down or they can quicken the transactions up. So she thinks there might be something happening this year with transaction speeds. So maybe as banks embrace the XRP, Ripple technology.
I think, aren't they just moving away from any existing one? Or is Ripple going to be it?
Well, she didn't say, this is not what she said. This is my theory, is that she's seen the banks moving away from the stodgy old international transfer systems that they have.
Into the blockchain.
Up into the blockchain. Instant processing times.
I feel like if we had gone back and looked at last year's, she would have said the same thing and would be proved hilariously wrong. 2019, not the year of crypto.
Banks hide the key. Anyway, that's all I had from Louise Jones. Then I looked at Utsava, psychic medium, who was having trouble with the deep state.
Aren't we all?
Who were messing around with all her files. They kept on changing everything in her computer. This takes like 7 minutes before she even gets to a prediction.
Wow.
In her file, she wrote that something was over 888 or it was maybe over 777, but the government changed it so it said it was over 666. 666, the number of the beast.
Hang on, so like the file size?
No, like she called her file name like 888 and they changed it to 666.
Okay.
Which is a number she would never use. That's how she knows she didn't do it.
Right. Maybe I did it. I would always use that number.
Yeah, I use 666 a lot.
What I thought was interesting is she has 666 Patreon subscribers.
Really?
Well, she needs to do something about that.
Which at $5 a pop is not bad.
Hey, look, better than us.
It was really unclear in her video whether she was saying that her predictions from 2019 had then turned out to be correct or if she was saying predictions from 2020 because she had a bit of a thick Russian accent. But the media will be talking about JFK Jr. from January to spring. JFK Jr. would have come out, but the deep state kept on doing shooting hoaxes every time he was about to pop his head out. She predicts and has had it confirmed. This is a confirmed prediction.
Hang on, I just want to dial this back a second.
Yeah.
Isn't the whole point of him coming out as like part of the we've finally got the deep state on its heels and JFK's like the one that's going to tip everything over the edge. So like they should just do it regardless of the shooting.
No, there was a mass shoot every time they'll do a mass
so
shooting.
So then just do it. Because if he not doing it, he's only encouraging more mass shootings.
I suppose. You didn't take this up with Utsava. But it's been confirmed that JFK Jr. will be Donald Trump's running mate in 2020.
Well, any serious QAnon follower has known this for months.
Yeah. There's going to be some currencies devalued in 2020. The Indonesian rupiah.
Yep.
And the Vietnamese dong.
Dong.
Scott Morrison. So this is not a prediction now, but Scott Morrison visited Trump, as we know.
Yeah.
And that was the purpose of that visit was apparently to announce the reset of society.
Okay.
And to return to the gold standard. But they had to put that off for some reason. But the reason they were wearing so much green and gold at that meeting was to let people know they've returned to the gold standard.
Okay.
So when the Australian Prime Minister's entourage had green and gold, that was a little clue.
Were they wearing green and gold?
I don't know. I don't think so. They must have been. She wouldn't say it if they weren't. The monarchy.
Were they just rocking an Aussie tracksuit?
Yeah, I think so. This is interesting. This was a couple of days ago, right? This is
Sorry, in all the photos that I've just looked up of them,
yeah,
I cannot see neither green nor gold. Oh, there's some plants and a gold thing in the background.
There would have
in
been.
Japan.
They would have had a bunch of Austrade knobs.
Yeah, but
hanging around wearing green and gold stuff.
Well, I can't see any.
Or some sort of Australian PR, like tourism PR thing.
Anyway,
you can take it out with Utsava again. Interestingly, this was put out a couple of days before Megxit.
Mm-hmm.
The monarchy.
Wait. Okay,
Yeah.
for a second there, I'm like, Megxit, Meg, when the Meg left the layer to get up into the surface in the movie The Meg.
Yeah.
Took me a while to realise you were talking about Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Different kind of Megxit.
Yeah.
The monarchy will collapse this year.
Yep.
But she mainly puts that down to the Queen being under house arrest, which is confirmed.
Okay.
And
I have to admit, I haven't seen the Queen out and about lately.
Yeah. She also predicted, I think this is a past prediction now, she predicted last year that Hillary Clinton was executed on February 28.
This is just Q anonymous stuff.
And this is confirmed.
Oh, sorry.
Because every public sighting since has been a double.
Ah, I knew it.
So that was all for Utsava. And I also checked out Ivan Teller, who does extraterrestrial channeling. So he channels an alien.
IT on the ET.
So he's been channeling aliens and angels since 2015. His psychic awakening was in 2011, though. His first being that he channeled was his spirit guide, Ulysses. After that, he was followed by a Zeta Grey by the name of J-Rod.
Hey. Sounds like a pretty hip dude.
And he's also been connected to Yeshua, who is a tall blonde Nordic, Arcturian, Anunnaki, and several archangels. So he's got a lot of different connections, and now he does webinars. And his webinars are cooked.
No.
Wait, hang on. I saw you do some LinkedIn gear on Twitter the other day. You're like, oh, I've got a lot of LinkedIn connections. Now I'm going to do a webinar. Was that influenced by this guy?
No, I have signed up to do a professional webinar for my job.
Right.
And I didn't update my LinkedIn.
Because this guy has a lot of connections and he's doing webinars.
So,
do you think Cam's this guy?
Hey, I've never seen them both in the same room.
He does these webinars, and all of the webinar names are drug name and something, something, something. And I'm not clear if each one is him doing the drug that's in the title. So I watched DMT and the upcoming alien invasion.
So
and the thing that makes me think he might be doing the drugs is he seems like he's completely scattered.
So, just so I'm clear, what form are these webinars taking?
It's just him talking into a camera on YouTube, but there's like so many people in the chat watching this, even though it's just word salad.
Yeah, right.
But it's not. He doesn't start them off being like, "Oh, I'm channeling J-Rod." He just like starts talking.
Yeah, right.
But so the thing that makes me think he is doing the drugs is that he's so scattered. But the thing that makes me think he might not be is I watched one that had cocaine in the title, and the first thing that he does when the camera comes on is like snaps his head and looks at the camera, which makes me think he is on cocaine. But then the rest of it is like so low energy that I think he couldn't possibly be.
How long did it go for?
Oh, like 20 minutes.
He probably just
they're all like 20 to 30.
Need a little bump halfway through to get that energy back.
Yeah. Well, if you're just doing cocaine alone in your room to talk to weirdos on the internet, would you be super high energy? Like you're not Wolf of
I think
Wall
it probably, you'd have a little bit more pep than the way you're describing.
It's not like a Wolf of Wall Street thing. On DMT and the upcoming alien invasion, he didn't actually make a prediction, but he did say sometimes people are good at being mechanics because they were a car in a previous life.
What? Okay, no, fair enough.
Doesn't that make sense? If you'd been a car in a previous life, you might know a little bit about how to fix a car.
I don't think so, no.
Well,
because in the last even 10, 20 years, cars have radically changed from being a hands-on mechanic thing to all being adjusted by computers. I think you'd be like, oh, great, I can be a mechanic now because I was definitely a car.
Yeah, in the 50s or whatever.
Yeah. And
it's completely different.
Yeah, you're like, I should have been lawnmower man.
Yeah.
Then I could get inside the car.
Yeah. It's like all of my knowledge about what it feels like to have a crankshaft is useless now.
Yeah.
He also said we have Zetans, we have Pleiadians, and there's a bunch of weird shit too. Talking tomatoes. And also, everyone's car can technically talk now. You just have to connect to its consciousness.
Oh, that's cool.
And I also watched a video.
Wait, again, everyone, or people that have just got one in the last, say, 10 years?
No, all cars can talk.
All cars, even mine.
Even yours.
So I knew that V-dubs...
It's not just cars, skateboards.
I knew that V-dubs could talk.
Yeah.
I knew that slick black Knight Rider style cars could talk.
Yeah. Did Herbie talk?
Beeped, I think.
Did he not talk?
He just beeped.
Right, okay.
But like,
he
could communicate through beeps. Most of his beeping was just like beep beep.
Yeah, but now he could actually communicate properly.
He doesn't need to flash his lights up and down when he's excited or wobble side to side when he's happy.
But I feel like if you really wanted to communicate something, they could have taught him Morse code or something, right?
Definitely.
But yeah, no, you just connect to the consciousness and you can talk to the car.
And skateboards.
Anything.
Anything with wheels or just anything?
I kind of don't want to connect to my car because it'll be like, just fucking get me serviced already. Just fix me or kill me.
At least change my oil.
Yeah, come on.
So I also watched, besides the DMT and the cocaine one, I watched Magic Mushrooms, Australian Fires, ISIS channeling.
Whoa.
But I wasn't sure if he was talking about ISIS, the terrorist group, or if he was channeling a spirit or alien or angel called Isis.
Yeah, Isis channeling suggests that he is channeling a spirit.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like he's in the territory of people that we'll talk about later that claim that ISIS are lighting the fires.
But on the other hand, Australian Fires, ISIS channeling, he's on magic mushrooms.
Yeah, that's fair.
So the start of the magic mushrooms video, he does talk about how you shouldn't do too many magic mushrooms, which does lend support to he is doing the drugs theory.
You can have a littler magic mushroom as a treat.
Yes, exactly.
Not too much.
It's like anything in moderation. He says, it's like eating food. You shouldn't eat too much food. And you shouldn't eat too many magic mushrooms. But if you eat just a little bit, it's fine.
Yeah, okay.
And his take on the Australian fires is that Australia is going through a purge. And he noted that the devil could be seen in the fires. We'll talk about this in a minute, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that the devil's in the fire means the devil is in the fires. No doubt about it. You only have to look. You can tell that the presence of the devil is high based on the fact that you can see the devil.
I guess if you
just the sort of insight that magic mushrooms can only deliver, really.
I feel like this guy doesn't need the magic mushrooms to make that kind of connection there.
You guys have any personal predictions for the year?
Nah.
Trouble in the Middle East?
Yeah, maybe. No, hard to say.
Yeah.
Hard to say. 2020 is already throwing up a trash fire of surprises.
Yeah.
And I feel like any predictions are just going to be out the window pretty quickly.
Just already in 2020, the lessons we've learned from the last few years about nothing mattering to the sort of, not to be a conspiracy theorist, but the sort of laid out way that things are supposed to play out. Like nothing anyone does changes anything. Like Scott Morrison can burn all of his political capital and it won't make a difference.
No, because
or will it?
The billionaire's in charge.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Are we going to break? Or you wanted to break when you said, or will it?
Or will it? All right, let's talk about the bushfires. It's a little high energy.
Yeah, dial that back a little.
Let's talk about the bushfires.
Yeah, pretty. I mean, I don't think we need to point out how tragic they are. Everyone's kind of across it. But it's brought some of our old friends out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
One old friend in particular, PK. He is back. He's dining out. He is re-uploading old videos.
He uploaded like 8 videos just today.
Yeah. He's just like, he's getting some more traction through the bushfires. So it's like, oh, let's do it. So he uploaded a more gallons video showing some cotton wool that he found on the golf course in 2016. And he's suggesting that this is what's being rained down in the sky to start the bushfires.
Wait, isn't Morgellons coming out of people's skin?
Yeah, but doesn't it come out of the sky and then attach it into your skin?
I think that might be a PK thing.
No, I think that's a thing.
I don't think that's not the main. That's not the base Morgellons. That's the extra. That's Morgellons plus.
No, I thought Morgellons was as a result of chemtrails. Is the common theory.
The original Morgellons thing was just that people had some sort of illness that was causing stuff to come out of them. I think the chemtrail people might be adding their own thing on.
Anyway, let's not get it down. We did a whole episode on it.
Yeah.
Which we all forget.
Yes. Well, I remembered it pretty clearly.
He's uploading chemtrail videos. He re-uploaded one. We rang the EPA. This is from, I think, 2015 or 2016.
Is that the one, his first one?
I think so.
He uploaded his first chemtrails video.
Oh, it wasn't that one, but I think it was soon after that. And he rang up the EPA and he's like, which is the Environmental Protection Authority.
Sure.
And he's like, I'm just concerned. We don't really have any sunny days anymore. And I look up in the sky and I see these planes. And they're just putting stuff out. Do you know what it could be? And the lady's like, what's going on? What is this? It could be chemtrails, do you think? She's like, maybe. It's really weird. So, yeah, he's re-uploading them saying that this is all kind of tied into the bushfire calamity that's happening right now.
Also, did he put up one where he called the BOM, the Bureau of Meteorology?
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, a few days ago he put a couple up where he was tracking the weather throughout the day on a weather website. I don't think it was the BOM website. It was another weather tracker. But he was like, look at this. The weather yesterday didn't get above 27 degrees. I sat here and watched it all day.
I believe he did that.
I believe he did that as well. I looked at it on this website all day and it never got above 27. It's 2 days later, and when I look back at that day now on this website, it says the maximum was 34. Or whatever the numbers were. He goes, that's a bloody 6 or 7 number difference. What are they playing at? They're trying to change history. This is how they do their climate change agenda. And he rang them. And he rang the BOM. I mean, like he wasn't on the BOM website. He was on another website. He's like, I think he said something like, I'm assuming you blokes get your data from the same place as this place. And he just starts going on about how the numbers don't match up to what he observed. And the guy on the other line's just like, I'll have to look into it.
Yeah, okay.
But he just keeps going on. It doesn't make any sense.
He's also the big one that people are claiming around the fires is the rail line.
Yeah, the high-speed rail.
Yeah. So the theory is that, and it's sort of going through. It's made it to Alex Jones. He's had some gear, which I'll talk about later on. But across sort of the Australian cooked YouTubers, who's lighting these fires to clear the land, make way for the Chinese, are a big one.
Right.
To do something, and the high-speed rail, which is going from up the east coast from Melbourne to Brisbane.
Yeah. So there is a proposed high-speed rail route, isn't there?
Yeah.
But it's just a proposal.
Yeah.
There's no support for high-speed rail.
No. So
except from the high-speed rail people.
Yeah.
Like the Bullet Train for Australia party.
And they've looked at that for years, right?
Yeah.
For a long time. There could be a railway line up there that goes really fast.
So I think what's happening now with Brisbane and the Gold Coast, I think particularly the Gold Coast, they're trying to make that into a smart city where it's kind of a city of the future and it's kind of a more spread out vision of a city because the Gold Coast by nature. So I think it's sort of back on the radar with those kinds of discussions. If we're going to be doing, this flash thing, we should maybe get high-speed rail.
Yeah, so people can get here.
Yeah. So I shared this in the chat with you guys, and I might put on the Patreon for people to look at. So he shared a map of the bushfire map and then a map of the proposed rail path. bushfires are really much on the east coast of Australia, and the rail is the east coast. So, and like the habitable parts of Australia are very small. So like people kind of live in that one spot.
Okay.
What?
Not like New Zealand where you can live anywhere.
No, but like, there's a point to me saying, you think I was New Zealand bragging? So like, of course, if they're doing a high-speed rail and there's bushfires affecting people, they're going to be in a similar place.
Yeah.
Anyway, and he's like, look at these two maps. It's exactly the same spot.
Did he put the maps over each other?
He didn't put them over each other. He put one after the other. He's like, they're exactly the same spot. Look at them.
AKA up the east coast.
Yeah. Why are they on fire? And so I got the maps and overlaid them, and the path that he's sharing could not be avoiding the fires anymore. Like it's almost like they're playing the floor is lava with the fires. It's curving around where the fires are happening. Almost like it's going to where the major towns are and not the bush areas.
Yeah.
He's like, it's too much of a coincidence. It's outright. It's so obvious.
The train line's probably also avoiding rugged terrain.
Yeah.
Which is burning.
Yeah. But like that theory is being picked up pretty widely.
Yeah.
It did make it into Alex Jones, and I was watching a little bit of it. So Jonesy's blaming it on the Chi-Coms, Chinese Communist Land Clearing, he's calling it. He is just, you know what he's like, he just kind of word salads everything. Communist China, he got two ladies call up from, I don't know where they were, but both from Australia. One was because they're calling Brisbane a new world city, which is kind of the vision for Brisbane. It's going to be a new world city. This lady that rang is like, when she heard that, she moved out of Brisbane.
Yeah.
She does not want to be involved in the New World Order.
New World City, I think, has been a thing for a while.
Yeah.
Like decades?
Potentially. Then she was saying, the same lady said, they've been chemtrailing us for years. And Jonesy to that said, Caroline, that was her name, Caroline, you're awesome. The next lady said the Chinese own our water, which is why Scott Morrison was in Hawaii, because he didn't come back because he knew there was no water. So he's like, oh no, the fires are happening. I've got to go to Hawaii because we don't have any water because the Chinese own it, and it's going to be embarrassing when people try and fight the fires and their hoses don't work. Yeah. So I'm going to have to stay away.
Just dust coming out of them.
And we're better to be away than Hawaii.
Yeah, which is some galaxy brain shit when you think about it, because there are problems with water ownership and water rights in Australia. There are problems with the Prime Minister bailing and going to Hawaii. She's identifying the problems.
Yeah.
She's really just the path she's taking to get to the solutions are very confusing.
Just to take that one extra level, I was watching Jeff from We Are Change, Melbourne.
Oh, yeah.
Interviewing some cooked unit about the fires. He's done 2 fire videos now.
Yeah.
Also, he's done another video with Galegas.
Yeah.
The
Dr. Pill.
Karate nonce.
I can't believe Galegas is still in my life after like circa 2005, me being really high and watching his Channel 31 show, Cyborg Stone Age Warrior, and it just breaking my mind and just what I don't know what it was.
You didn't think you'd still be talking about Galegas in the year 2020?
Yeah. And he's quite a, in the context of this part of my life, quite a substantial figure. Anyway.
In the video with Galegas is playing Dr. Pill. Yep. He does like an American accent almost throughout the whole thing. Occasionally.
It's a very confusing jumble of accents.
When he gets worked up, he just slips back into Galegas. But the main thing, it's so weird because like We Are Change Melbourne is like supposed to be fighting injustice and stuff, right? And so, fuck the police, fuck the legal system. They give out such bad legal advice on this video.
There was a disclaimer to say it wasn't legal advice.
Yeah, well, probably for the best.
This is probably more suited to our news show.
We'll just chuck it in here.
All right.
So one of the bits of legal advice they give is that if you're being investigated by the police, just say the cops are corrupt, because cops hate being called corrupt so much that they'll back off. They'll be like, I don't want people to think I'm corrupt.
Oh, no.
The other legal advice they give is if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to worry about. So if the police show up without a warrant, you should just let them in. Because if you were innocent, it's the police's job to prove that you were innocent. It's like, these are the guys that are supposed to be paranoid.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're so fucking dumb.
Just let the cops in and then tell them they're corrupt.
Let the police in.
Let them in unless you got a little bit of weed, then tell them they're corrupt.
And it's weird because don't know if we ever talked about this on the main show. Jeff from We Are Change Melbourne, he had the police come to his home to do like a site inspection because there was some sort of legal issue with his landlord.
Yeah.
And I think they were going to sell the house under him. But he let them in without a warrant. But the main thing you've got to remember is say the police, am I detained or am I free to go? That's all you need to know. But if you are innocent, if you've got nothing to hide, just let them in. Doesn't matter if they have a warrant. Let them look at whatever they like.
Wouldn't work if it was a vampire situation, though. I guess this isn't advice for vampires, but...
Yeah. But on the fires, he was talking to this guy, and he said the same thing. All of the water's been sold off to the Chinese, or they've gotten rid of it all. But there's a little bit left, which is going to be used up by fighting the fires. And then there'll be no water left. And that's when they kill us all.
Oh, right.
Was this the latest one? Was kind of like a dopey guy?
Yeah, he was real dopey. And he
that's Jeff.
No, dopier than Jeff.
Okay. He looked like he had a Hitler moustache. It was just really bad lighting.
Yeah, must be talking about the same person. He also went on a big rant about sovereign citizenship in the middle of that interview.
Right.
So
scan the barcode on the back of your state birth certificate. You'll be amazed it has your name in it.
I don't think my birth certificate has a barcode.
I don't know if I have one on mine either.
Wouldn't that make sense?
Yep, perfect sense. It would make perfect sense that it has your name in the barcode. But that's how they've stolen your bloody identity and all your land.
Because they put it into a barcode.
Because we've all got land and money.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So I think water rights are a significant issue, right? Like towns are running out of water and some of the nationals have gamed the system significantly, right? Is that a fair statement to make?
There's water right issues going on, but there's also a drought going on, which is why the water rights thing is sort of a bad look.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of nationals who have been involved in some dodgy deals or whatever. I did watch one video by a guy called Max Egan, who I did note appeared in the ECAJ anti-Semitism report from like 2018.
Okay.
Or like a few years ago. So maybe a bit of a tool, but it was like a 30-minute long video. It was being shared around a fair bit. He had like 3 videos on the fires when I looked at him, and they all had like 100 to 200,000 views.
That is too many views for whatever content I'm assuming you're about to talk about.
Well, I don't know if people are watching the whole videos or what, but it's 30 minutes long. The first 15 minutes was just describing the situation with the fires. The fires are burning hot, they're burning longer, climate change is exacerbating them. Ash, there's smoke everywhere, people's health is being affected by the smoke. The ash hitting the glaciers in New Zealand is going to exacerbate the melting of those glaciers, which is going to then cause more problems for the seas rising, etc., etc. So that's like the first 15 minutes, which is fair enough. And then he gets into that the government has been spraying aluminum oxide all over the country.
So chemtrails, right?
Yeah.
That's what they say comes out of the chems.
Yeah. Essentially, it's sparkler dust.
Sparkler dust.
Yeah.
Like Guy Fawkes Night Sparkler.
Yeah. So they've been spraying sparkler dust all over the country. That's why it's all burning up. But he also talks about all of the water rights and stuff. But then they did all of that on purpose so that we would have no water. So that then, and his point is that they want to just kill every Australian.
Right. So here's the second one we've watched. It's just like, and the end result, they'll just kill everyone.
Yeah.
If they were just going to kill everyone, I feel like just do it. Like this seems like such a roundabout way to do it.
And he doesn't say who is going to kill everyone, who it is doing it. But I think we can sort of assume it's the Jews.
Yeah, in this guy's case, yeah.
But like, why?
Well, so Agenda 2030 keeps on coming up. So Agenda 21 is no longer the thing, the UN plan, which was from memory, hey, we should all, like on a local level, try and work on building better, stronger communities.
Was that also the thing where we're also going to reduce the population by millions?
Yeah. which is by sex education and giving access to healthcare and doctor services. Right. So Agenda 2030 is the new one. So that's been coming up as well. Everyone's like all the randos coming out of the woodwork and like, yeah, UN Agenda 2030. It's all in writing. I haven't read it. I'm assuming it's potentially a positive thing that whatever. But yeah, Agenda 2030 keeps on coming up.
The other thing about the high-speed rail is that we know exactly where that comes from. It's a copy-paste of California wildfire conspiracy theory, which I would be interested to see if the map on that goes together.
So, speaking of old friends, Russian vids.
I saw someone mention Russian vids today as well.
Dialed up Russian vids. Long-time listeners will remember him from the early days. Loves the Masonic conspiracy, old Russian vids. He showed video footage of that same conspiracy. So then one of the local news stations in California debunked that conspiracy by doing what I did and overlaying maps and going, look, it's not really it's so misleading what they're saying. And he's just like, she's paid, she's bought out, just a shill, it's a Masonic thing. And then he started talking about kombucha.
Right.
So there was a brand must be in California, I'm assuming. He didn't really say where it was. It was a weird connection, which is strange because Russian vids always make so many coherent connections. Kombucha is in on it. The brand is Tribucha Kombucha.
Tribucha Kombucha?
Yep.
Triple the butcher?
Yeah. It's got a triangle as a logo. Guess what's in the middle of the triangle?
Little eyeball.
Little eyeball.
Oh, God.
And they've got one line called Controlled Burn.
Oh.
So big kombucha, and this apparently is distributed internationally. I don't think it is. Being a kombucha connoisseur, I've never seen it in my part of the world.
Do you think somewhere there's this big vat with a big intelligent SCOBY pulsating in it with fucking wires and shit coming out of it?
I have no doubt. So, this slight aside, when I was in Byron Bay last, the brewery up there, their old brewery is now dedicated to kombucha.
Right.
And they were telling me about the giant SCOBYs they've got. And one of them was saying they had one that didn't like it had gone funky and gone too fast. So they had
funky SCOBY.
Yeah, so they had to take it out and like get rid of it. So they were like, we have to cut it up to make it smaller and to get into whatever processing we have. And he said they just started hacking to knives. Just like pretty much like blood started oozing out. It was just like it was one of the gnarliest.
It's screaming.
I didn't get a chance to go look at the big giant SCOBYs, but I'm looking forward to it next time. So yeah, he was going on about how this kombucha brand is somehow in on it. And, it's right in our faces. It's just rubbing in our faces. And then he started talking about Mason conspiracies. So for his video about bushfires, maybe 20 minutes of it was not about bushfires. It was just, look, Gmail, 666, logo, all the stuff that he's been doing for ages. Freshen up your gear, I reckon. He had the Masonic robes. M looks like the Gmail logo.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, we've done this already, Russian vids.
PK put up a Mason vid.
Oh, yeah?
About the fires. That one of the reporters from Channel 9 is standing doing the hand thing.
Oh, yeah.
Holding his hands with his tips of his fingers together while he's like talking to the camera. He's like, look at that, blah, blah, blah. Then there's a news conference where somewhere in New South Wales and Gladys is standing next to the podium with her hands by her side. Someone's talking away, blah, blah, blah. And then she suddenly lifts her hands up like that.
Whoa.
She does do it quite...
Into the triangle pose?
Into the triangle pose. She does do it quite suddenly. And he's like, why did she do that suddenly? Why did she have to do that? Look how nervous she is there standing there doing it too. She's being controlled.
Isn't she nervous because she's being rinsed in the media for incompetence?
I would think so.
Yeah, and she's probably been like, my advisor's told me don't just stand there with your hands next to your sides like you're completely inept.
But then he also...
Put it into an action pose.
Yeah. Then he also goes on to just fucking savagely talk about how unattractive she is and how all the leaders of countries are just grossly ugly. Just dial it back, bro.
That's weird for a misogynist to do.
Were Jeff and Gallegis doing that as well? Did I see? Did you see you guys comment like? Or it might have been from PK commenting, and I just remember thinking like,
no, it's PK commenting on their video.
No, like one of you guys put it in the group chat of like a comment about Merkel and stuff.
Oh no, that was
that's
PK.
what PK said.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I was just looking at it. I'm like, because I've seen similar comments from, we've seen it in the horrible transvestigation stuff as well.
Yeah.
And like all these blokes they're not attractive dudes. Like, what are they doing? Glass houses, fellas.
Yeah.
Glass bloody houses.
His thing was, who would vote for that? Merkel, Gillard.
So PK, he looks really close at one point to coming around to...
our house?
No. To coming around to, like, the logical conclusion is the climate change is causing horrible impacts on our environment. And he's looking at footage of it and he's commentating it and he's like, this isn't normal. This has never been seen before. This is amazing. We need to work out what's doing it. Energy weapons. It's like, oh,
yeah.
You're so close. Like the lady that rang in to Alice Jones, like, it's so close to identifying that it's just rich people and horrible climate change that's causing these problems.
Someone had commented in one of his videos saying that their brother's uncle or something had seen some US jets refueling at some airbase somewhere in Geelong, but they were also being fitted with these high output energy weapons.
Really?
And it's like, it's good that your cousin's uncle's brothers or whatever knows what they look like. But yeah, and then those planes were going off and flying like directly over where the fires were, obviously just bloody adding heat.
Yeah.
I saw one video. I don't think it was even a video. It was just a photo of like a plane and then like the laser coming out of it. It's like, I think that's just someone has drawn that on, actually.
Yeah.
Well, so there's one photo that's been doing the rounds, and it looks like people saying it's an energy beam going straight up, and it's hard to tell what it is. It's a low quality, like it's snipped from news footage. It's just kind of a straightish line, but it's also not really a straightish line of fire. I think obscured by smoke, so it looks kind of straight or whatever. I don't know. So yeah, everyone's saying that's the energy weapon that they've, it's evident. It can't be anything else.
It's probably, it is just a tendril of fire being sucked up into the air. Right?
Yeah. And it's so it's quite so low quality that, it looks blocky in its own way. But one person was in the comments, it must have been a PK or a similar one, just saying adamant that, I can see from the pixels that it's a really good Photoshop. I used to do Photoshop a lot, to get the beam and then the smoke going in front of it and behind it, like it's really hard to do. And someone sort of said, someone asked him to elaborate more, and he's like, I don't know, I used to Photoshop for fun back in the day. I know there are better Photoshop programs today that could get close, but the shadowing is hard to nail, and when you zoom into the individual pixels, they look right, quotation marks. If someone did Photoshop this, it would take them a very, very long time.
Oh.
It would not take that long at all.
That guy was probably 15 photoshopping Emma Watson's face onto like nudie models.
I also just there's many more Photoshop programs. I'm an expert on Photoshop, and I know there's more Photoshop programs than I used to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you also see PK go hard at that? Who was the politician that went on Piers Morgan in the UK?
Oh, Craig Kelly.
Yeah.
Did you see PK's video commentating on that?
No. What's his take on Craig Kelly?
Well, his take on that was Piers Morgan's a fuckhead, and that woman who he's with can just fuck off.
Jeez.
Right. But no take on Craig Kelly. He's an absolute bumbling fool, just making a complete ass of himself.
He played the interview. The meteorologist who was there started talking, and every 2 words she said, PK would pause it and go, "And how the fuck do you know?" God. It's like, it was the hottest year last year in Australian history. Fuck off, it was. It was the coldest summer ever in Melbourne. It's like, yeah, because Melbourne is all of Australia. Click. The fires have been burning for whatever months. Pause. How do you know that? And he's just, it's so painful to watch. I suggest you watch it.
Did you see that song that PK shared from a different channel? It's like a folk song about the bushfires.
The government's burning the country.
Yep.
And then, what does she say? Aluminum.
Yeah.
Aluminum.
Aluminum. Aluminum.
I went to her channel and had a look at some her other videos. The highlight of which was 5 minutes of me yelling at cars.
It is what it says on the tin, isn't it?
It is 100%. It's filmed vertically, but the video is horizontal, so it's kind of hard to watch. But basically, every time a car goes past, she's, look up! Chemtrails, look up! They're spraying! They're not listening. I'm having fun. I think it only goes for 3 minutes and 44 seconds, so you kind of stretched out the time, but we all elaborate a little bit on these sorts of
That's
things.
very frustrating, though, because in a way it's not clickbait, because she is just yelling at cars, and she says that in the title. On the other hand, I came here for 5 minutes of it. I didn't come here for 3 minutes. 44 seconds.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good. Someone pointed out that so they're talking about the smart cities I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Someone suggested that SMART in any usage stands for surveillance, military, arsenal, and residential technology.
They nailed it.
Yeah.
What are smart cities?
It's just a buzzword.
Yeah.
For let's all connect, things together.
Yeah,
somehow.
I think rather than having more urban sprawl of capital cities and other towns, they want to set up new cities that are going to be populations of about 200,000 people, interconnected with rail.
Yeah,
and so kind of to spread people out a little bit,
and maybe designed, using modern ideas rather than by people in the fucking 1900s.
According to Wikipedia, smart city is an urban area that uses different types of electronic Internet of Things sensors to collect data and then use insights gained from that data to manage assets, resources, and services efficiently. It includes data from citizens, devices, assets. I don't love the idea of all of this.
Yeah, that sounds like complete bullshit.
It could be used for evil. But traffic, transportation systems, power plants, utilities, water supply, waste management. So, I think we've been kind of conditioned. Parts of us have been conditioned to read all that and go, well, someone's going to use that for evil, and that's going to be the dystopia.
Yeah.
But if people are in power that's actually kind of good, that will actually make things a lot better.
See, I love the idea of a city with a population of 250,000 people that's got just outside of town, a big solar farm, some wind turbines, and one of those massive Tesla batteries that South Australia's got that doesn't have to worry about any other electrical grid. That's sick.
Yeah. And
get in and out of it quickly on the train to other cities.
On the high-speed rail.
High-speed rail.
High-speed rail.
Yeah. Smart cities. I mean, I can see why, sure, if we carry on in this dystopian way that we're heading, smart cities probably going to be used for evil. Probably going to be used to shut poor people out, keep rich people gated off away from the poors. But on the flip side, it could be good. Watched another dude called Chris Ozzie who's got some bushfire gear amongst other things. His mate is building him an office outside in it must be a little carport bit or something. And so his mate watched 20 minutes of YouTube videos and they've wired up PowerPoints outside. It's my mate's not an electrician or anything, but he watched some YouTube. He watched only about 20 minutes. Went down and got all the gear, got all the cable and all that, wired me up, and now I can do some broadcasts.
How is this related to bushfires?
I think it will be very soon. No, he then just went on to... he just did some generic bushfire, all the stuff we've been talking about, kind of a summary of that. I just thought it was hilarious that...
Yeah. Well, so this is the thing. The other thing that's there's been conspiracies about is the causes of bushfires. So there's been this meme being pushed that we're not in a climate emergency, which we are.
Very clearly are.
Very clearly are. If you look at the Garneau report, as you will see if you watch any explainers or debunkings, if you look at the Garneau report from 2008, where they wrote that even a small increase in global temperatures were going to result in longer and more intense fire seasons, and we would see this playing out very visibly by 2020. Doesn't get
more spot on than that.
Yeah. No, we're not in a climate emergency. We're in an arson emergency. So it's weird. I looked at I pulled up every arson emergency tweet. I ran a script and downloaded them all. It was first used by some random guy back in October, and then wasn't touched again until November when within like a couple of hours of each other in the morning, one right-wing troll account started posting about there being an arson emergency, as well as a guy from the IPA, Institute of Public Affairs, maybe going off the other one, but not making any reference to it. Started posting about there being an arson emergency. And then it's mainly the same few people posting thousands of tweets about it since in replies to people.
Someone at a university ran a script, didn't they? That kind of picked up.
They did the same thing. They grabbed everyone that had posted about it.
Did they do it before or after you?
They did it after me, but that's fine. And then they analysed the users, and they found that about a third of them displayed behaviour that seemed automated or potentially automated, which could mean that they were possibly bots or possibly trolls. My take is that there's a lot of dumb people in Australia and a bunch of them are on Twitter.
Yeah.
And so I'm leaning more towards the troll sort of side of things.
Yeah.
But there have been people talking about seeing bots. I think that
people, like, you go into the comments of controversial right versus left threads, and people are just like, you would say that, you're a bot.
Yeah.
And it's like, this person is clearly not a bot. Just don't, you're weakening your cause. You're weakening your whole side's cause.
So here's the thing about bots, right? Most bots are, like in the general disinfo wars that are ongoing around the globe, most bots aren't bots.
No.
You know, there are people being paid to spread disinformation. We know about that because it's sort of hard to automate it so it looks good. But people have this idea from like reading some stupid long Twitter thread in 2016 that like you can spot a bot. Apologies for people who listen to Gather Around Me where I said all this as well. You can spot a bot because they've got a bunch of numbers in their name.
Yeah.
And they don't have a proper avatar, etc., etc. And it's like, for a little bit, that was a way to spot a bot. But that's because the default thing when you sign up to Twitter is it gives you a random username with a bunch of numbers.
Yeah, automatically assigns everyone when you sign up.
Yeah.
I don't think you even get a chance to select your username. You have to go and change it. Is that right?
No, I think you can change it, but it says, here's your username unless you want to change it.
Yeah, right.
And it's just some random word and numbers.
Yeah.
And that's what dumb people select. They're like, that's fine.
Yeah. I
just want to come on and talk with other nufties about this stuff. There's all these people that they're like, these are definitely bots. It's like, no, they're just old people. They don't know how the internet works.
Yeah.
If someone's running a disinfo campaign, wouldn't they want to make the effort to make them look like real people who are saying this stuff?
So there has been a big push, though, for the arson narrative from the far right.
It went through the normal sort of thing, went from the far right, ended up in News Limited.
Ended up with the Prime Minister.
Yeah, and then gets to the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Which sort of the way that things go from the far right through Fox News to Trump.
Yeah. And there's...
they do get to skip some of it with our Prime Minister because he's friends with a QAnon nut.
Yeah.
Who I think they went on holidays to Hawaii together.
Oh, was he part of the...
This is what I'm told. I don't know.
Okay. Don't start rumours.
No. We don't spread disinfo.
No.
But so that people like pull out a bunch of stats and they misread stats. So there was I think there was one article that had come out that said, there were 183 people had been charged with.
Yeah, so this was in the Australian. 183 people charged with, I can't remember the wording, but they basically...
Like deliberately lighting fires.
Yeah, they basically implied that there was 183 arsonists involved in this short month period.
Yeah. And actually it was...
24 people, I think, have been charged, or there's been 24 charges. So, one person could be charged 5 times.
Yeah.
I can't remember if those contain, and there's been a lot of...
also, the time frame didn't even involve this fire season.
Yeah.
It was a year-long time frame that finished before this fire season even started.
There's been a lot of really good articles about this that have kind of broken down the numbers, but I think it's less less people being charged for fire than in any other year so far. Or it's just on par. Like, it's certainly not an uptick.
And when it says deliberately lighting fires, that also includes people who have a barbecue on a fire ban day, right?
Barbecue, like kids playing around with a magnifying glass or anything like that.
Or, angle grinders?
Yeah, angle grinders,
Yeah.
And angel grinders.
Yeah, ankle grinders.
Ankle grinders, yep, they're in there.
All of the grinders.
Yeah.
But all of that dumb shit.
Yeah.
It also includes, I was like, they separate out kids playing with matches from arsonists. It's like, yeah, you can whack those together.
Yeah. Our good friend Paul Joseph Watson on the InfoWars Network has picked up the Bushfire beat. I think Jonesy kicked it off and then PJW is running with it. He shared that image that's been going around of the... it's a composite image. It pretty much shows Australia glowing on fire. People have been sharing it as like a photo from the International Space Station.
It's not.
It's
a 3D representation.
Like, it's not even that. Like it's.
Well, it's not a represent. It's not
Isn't
even
that just what every photo from the International Space Station is?
Whoa.
Well, no, but it's like it's just a computer graphic.
Yeah,
but it's not
like every photo from the space station.
You're missing his bit.
Yeah, okay, but they take okay, sure. They do take photos though, but it's not even of bushfires.
No,
it's not even of the current bushfire situation. It's like over a year or something as well.
No, it's the space of a month, but I think it's. I can't remember if it's every reported fire or the way that NASA scans using their satellites is to pick up every temperature spike and then flag that and give that kind of a rating. So house fires, large bonfires. So there's like, you look at it and it's like the whole East Coast is on fire. It's glowing. And people are like, oh my God, this photo. No smoke in the photo, which is really bizarre.
And also, like, the middle of the desert's on fire.
Yeah, the middle of the desert.
So there's nothing there.
Top end is all on fire, just lit up like a Christmas tree. So Paul Joseph Watson, who also this week said of the Iran situation, we shouldn't be sharing photos, jumping to conclusions based on photos without knowing the source. Put that image on one of his YouTube vids, and it's like, this is a photo from the International Space Station showing the destruction. It's like, you idiot.
But Paul Joseph Watson also did like a bunch of stuff on Twitter about the arson thing.
Yeah.
And like Gideon Rosner from the IPA shared it.
Yeah.
It's like...
So I will take heart digging around into the Reddit conspiracy and looking through the Twitter threads about this. And I think our conspiracy is kind of notable because there's been massive pushback by users when people are claiming the arson thing. Generally, the thread... I would expect the thread to be mostly people like, oh my God, it's, the lefties, Soros or whatever. People are jumping in, Australians going, actually, no, here's the real numbers. Like they're the most reasoned conspiracy threads I've seen on that forum for a long time, since the whole Clinton Soros thing kicked off.
And it's like, that's good, but it makes me wonder about the rest of it because like there is a real conspiracy that people knew that this was going to happen and rich people, but it conflicted with people's interests to do anything about it.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're in the situation.
Well, the conspiracy is...
Like the real elites, not the imaginary elites, but the real elites didn't take any action.
No. But I mean, what we've seen repeatedly these last few years is the real elites aren't held into account for anything. The Panama Papers, for example.
Hiding in fridges.
The absolute incompetence of many governments, and then they'll probably all get voted back into power next time, and the poor will continue to be stomped down. Yeah, it sucks ass.
Yeah.
Sucks balls.
Hello.
Vote for Bernie, vote Greens.
I guess the Greens were the other ones that were getting blamed for the fires as well, right?
Yeah.
So
for a little while there.
That was like the arsonist plus theory. It wasn't just that we had all of these arsonists running around, but in fact...
The Greens weren't letting us fire reduction burn.
That was one thing. So that's trying to push the blame from the climate change onto the people who've been saying that we need to worry about climate change. So there are all these claims that are, all of these green councils or whatever had stopped hazard reduction burns. That's all been completely debunked. Every fire chief around the country has said no. When we haven't done hazard reduction burns, it's because of the fact that you can't. I don't know if you've noticed, guys, but you can't always just set a fire.
Yeah.
And hazard reduction burns, is my understanding, are exempt from any council bylaws or state laws if the fire
Well, there are no
service-
green councils either.
Yeah. But if the fire service says, hey, we need to do hazard reduction, they're basically given carte blanche to do it.
But then there's also specific times, like the situation and the weather and the temperature and everything has to be perfect for them to do it.
Yeah, so when everything comes together and they say, yep, now we can do it, they're allowed to do it.
It just happens that because of climate change,
Yeah.
there's less and less of those days now where they can get out and do that.
There was one thing that all of these people point to as proof that this is what was happening, which is there was like some little town in Victoria,
East Gippsland protest or something.
in East Gippsland, where they protested against it because it was going to kill a bunch of animals.
Yeah.
But that had no bearing on the fact that they didn't do it.
Well, yeah, so the kind of, and like, we're not saying there aren't examples of people protesting hazard reduction.
Yeah.
But to say on a wide scale, Greens are stopping hazard, and it's kind of conflating everyone that's had a problem with hazard reduction as a Green and into the Green Party, but that's just not true. And, it's like saying if someone paints a swastika somewhere, that means everyone on the right loves Nazis, which turns out is pretty true. But
but then the insane version of the greenie hazard reduction thing is that the arsonists that are out there are Greens.
Yeah.
And they're setting these fires so they can push the climate agenda.
Yeah.
Which is sort of crazy. Yeah. Completely unbacked by any evidence, but that doesn't stop people.
I think that the massive pushback, and just today someone from News Limited who was, I think it was a finance executive, but as we know, finance executive can mean just a, low-level accountant or whatever. But they, I think, sent a pretty wide company-wide email that's been picked up by the media saying, like, I'm out until we're honest about climate change. Like, this is cooked. Literally. Little climate change joke for you.
There was also, I don't know what I was going to say. Cut that.
All right.
I was out the other night doing a tow hider thing, and where I was, there was people talking, and one of them just started railing on the Greens about all that stuff. Oh, it's the Greens' fault, blah, 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 blah. And I was just sitting there going, oh, fuck off. Out of the blue, someone else just starts railing on them going, fuck off, that's bullshit. Yeah, good on you, person. I would never have fucking affronted someone like that over it, but I'm glad someone did.
When I landed in New Zealand, I landed in Australia from New Zealand, and it was kind of one of those, like, it was one of the high smoke days, so it was quite like, as soon as we got over to the side of the Tasman, it was quite airy. And so it was kind of like a doom and gloom vibe. And when they were lighting from the plane, two people were getting in an argument. So I listened on in to find out, and it was this older lady and this younger dude, and it was kicking off about, I think she instigated it. She wanted to talk about people shouldn't be building houses in bushfire areas.
Right.
They know not to, they should know not to, they should be not allowed to. And the dude's like, hey, can you just like, what are you doing? You don't know what you're talking about. This is so out of line. She just kept on going.
Yeah, right.
And like the whole plane was just like, what are you doing? It's so freaking awkward. And then, but she was using New Zealand as an example, like, New Zealand, we can't build in earthquake zones, we've got regulations, that's a good example. I'm like, are you crazy? New Zealand's an entire earthquake zone.
Yeah,
the entire city of Christchurch was levelled just a decade ago, still rebuilding because of earthquake codes that went up to scratch. What are you talking about?
That's why they build buildings that can stand
these days.
Now they do.
Yeah, now they do. But like Wellington is, people have been saying for decades that, Wellington's going to be cooked one day.
The other thing I saw about the arsonists was people, and this is just more re-prosecuting weird cultural shit, the Q&A episode that got pulled a few months ago, where they had a bunch of lippy feminists on talking about, when are we going to... I can't remember what the comment was that got the program in trouble. I think it was something about bashing people up. And one of them was like, are people going to take notice when we start burning things? They're like, they said they were going to do it. It's like, you got sludge for brains.
Anyway, are we out of bushfire gear?
Yeah, all I've got left is just the dumbest shit. Stuff like Bernie Sanders tweeting about the skies being red and people saying, the sky's not red, I just looked out the window. It's like, that's too dumb to even talk about.
We've all seen the photos.
Actually, I do have one more thing to say about the photos and things. There's been a bunch of stuff about like the conspiracy theories that are going around about the fires, right? Where on the one hand you do have this disinfo/misinfo campaign which is designed to play down the fact that climate change is having a massive impact on the fire season. But then you get these things where it's like, but it's not just the right wing that are doing it. There's also disinfo on the left, and their examples are like, oh, someone shared this photo from that's actually from the Tasmanian fires in 2016.
Yeah, I saw that. The ABC was conflating them. Like, and they're like, hey, you don't believe everything you see, and they use that photo I was talking about of the 3D modelling or whatever, 3D graphic, and then that one. It's like these are two different.
They're completely different. Like, and stuff like the firefighter that said, "Oh, tell the Prime Minister to get fucked," and then that John Wren 1950 guy from Twitter, Aaron Dodd, he tweeted that that guy'd been suspended.
Yeah, right.
Where, that guy's looking for some online points.
Yeah,
and it turned out he had been suspended, or just stood down because he was suffering from exhaustion.
Yeah.
But it was unrelated to telling the Prime Minister to get fucked. But all of those, there's these little things where it's like, oh, this photo is actually from this thing. It's like, well, that doesn't really have that much of a bearing on anything.
It is, I don't think it's ideal, and I think we should be clear on that. But people, I don't think, is sharing it maliciously. Like, the intent of sharing that is this, I think people were doing it with the climate anxiety quote from Scott Morrison. It's like, yeah, this is actually a real problem and kids are having to, in the past have done it. So while it was misleading, it's not the same as Australia's being lit up by green arsonists and it's the Greens' fault and, whatever. They're two different, one's really malicious and destructive.
And in bad faith.
Yeah.
Some of the time it's in bad faith and the rest of the time it's the stupidest bootlickers imaginable, which sort of describes the majority of Australians.
Speaking of rinsing Australians.
Here we go.
I was looking in the comment.
Now he's in his element.
I was looking in the comments of one of the Jonesy ones, and someone commented, FYI, here in France, the news is running interviews with supposed Australians, in quotation marks. The accent sounded very off. Sorry, Frenchie, that's just the accent.
I thought of something we haven't spoken about, which is Kangaroo Island. So there's a couple of things about that. One, it's on fire.
Yep.
So I saw PK talking about it on one of his videos, and he was saying they're basically burning Kangaroo Island out so no one can live there because they'll put a US military base there. Best place for it.
Huh. It's not really.
Bottom of the earth, away from everything.
Yep. It's not even that close to Antarctica.
No, not really.
Not really convenient at all.
You should get down there. That's what the Prime Minister says, even though it's still very much on fire.
And they're evacuating everyone. I think I read they're evacuating everyone, and Scotty's like, it's open for business.
No, I think that's unfair because there was other people saying it as well. I think tourism operators were there also saying, oh, no,
open for business.
Half of the island's okay. Don't cancel your holidays.
Just don't go to the fireside.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were saying how many holidays have been cancelled, that aren't even kind of near the fires at all. And they're like, people have cancelled their holidays in March this year or April this year, and it's just costing us a lot of money as well. So I don't know, maybe find somewhere when everything's settled down to have a little holiday.
Yeah.
Give some money to the local economy.
Right.
Buy local. Shop.
Think global.
Yep.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's not it. It's going to keep going.
Yeah.
The fucking idiots are going to keep
doing
their idiot things.
Ugh.
All right.
If people want to find us online, they can do so at twitter.com/hypothepod. We are on Facebook. We're on Patreon. If you look up patreon.com/hypothepod. Thank you to all our Patreons, but especially to Tammy, our cooked sponsor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And they can find you, Robbo.
At hourlofatime.com. We'll be doing a bushfire. There'll be a bushfire episode about how you can help if you want to buy beer and help out with bushfire fundraising, which is a good way to help out because you get a beer at the end of it. So we'll be highlighting a lot of those fundraisers on our next show, which by the time this is out is probably out. So if you want to support that way, have a listen.
Go check it out.
You can get me at Saltmarsh on Instagram and Twitter, Andrew Saltmarsh Illustration on Facebook. Check out Toehider on Patreon. And January 20-something, I think.
Invasion Day.
Mike from Toehider and a local comedian, musician called Jude Pearl are doing a gig as a benefit for the fires. So all the money from that's going to bushfire relief. And it's Mike playing Jude Pearl songs and Jude Pearl playing Toehider songs.
Cool. Good stuff.
That should be fun.
You can find me at Sexenheimer on Twitter. Gather around me for my other podcast, which will have a new episode shortly. And I also have a new show starting on 3CR on January 16, Thursday at 4:30 p.m. It's called Yeah Nah Passaran. It's all about anti-fascism. So check it out.
With Slack Bastard?
Yes, with Andy Fleming from Slack Bastard.
Great. How exciting.
Yeah.
When is it going to be? Say it again.
Thursday the 16th, 4:30 p.m.
Whoa.
It'll be every Thursday.
30 minutes or an hour?
30 minutes. So
I'll tune in.
Good.
Thanks, everyone.
And you can also go to 3cr.org.au/yearnahpassaran and stream it afterwards if you like.
Great. You can download it for a little potty?
We've got to get approved to be podcasted first.
Ah.
But that'll happen soon.
You're going to have to stop speaking truth to power for a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Don't worry about a thing, except if all our world leaders are alien reptilians. I said don't worry about a thing, except maybe the fluoride in our water supply contains mind-altering drugs. Don't worry about a thing, except whether or not Port Arthur was a false flag operation in which to disarm Australia. I said don't worry about a thing. I accept you can definitely hear John Lennon say I buried Paul at the end of Strawberry Fields Forever. Ooh, don't worry about a thing, except not only did Bush do 9/11, but he also keeps the planes out in Area 51, which, let's not forget where all of the aliens are. Don't worry about a thing, except Donald Trump is clearly a woman and you're just blind if you can't see that. Why don't you open your eyes?